What's up everyone, and welcome to our channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We really appreciate it. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my September wrap-up. So I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in September. Before we get started, if you want to hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it, and leave a like on this video. It really helps us out. But most importantly, if you want to leave a comment about the books that you read in September, you might open my eyes to a new book. So let me know, what was your favorite book that you read during the month of September? Let's get into the books that I read in the month of September, and we'll talk a little bit about them. I know I'm a couple days early, but I'm really excited for my October TBR, which my TBR video is already up if you're interested. I'm really excited about October and what I'm going to read in the month of October. So I finished up a book like a couple days ago, as in yesterday, a couple days ago. What is time even? And I figured this is a good stopping point, and I'll get started on my October TBR, which I already have. Actually, I started reading the first book from my October TBR last night. So far, I'm on track to read my TBR. Isn't this a miracle? But anyways, let's get into the books that I read in September. So these are going to be in no particular order, but the first book I want to talk about, you've probably seen everywhere, is Rock, Paper, Scissors. This is a thriller. It's also kind of like a family drama, or like a couple drama. It's basically about this man and this woman. The guy has face blindness, which means he cannot recognize faces, which plays somewhat of a part in the story. I thought it was going to play more of a part, but I'm kind of glad that it didn't. Like, it made sense, but wasn't like a defining factor of things. But yeah, so this is about a man and a woman who, they're married, and their marriage is falling apart, so they go on this mini vacation to this remote place to try to reconnect. And one of them has a secret, and not both of them will make it out. And that's all you're told going into this, and really, I think that's enough. But yeah, this has already been adapted for TV. I think it's going to be a show, not a movie, which I'm interested in how they're going to make it a show and not a movie. So maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyways, I gave it 5 stars. It's only 290 pages, which I felt like was actually a really good length for this story. It's just like short, to the point, concise. It's really, really good. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars. The writing is really engaging. Like, it almost, like, you just get so wrapped into the writing, and like it's one of those books where like you're like constantly looking behind your shoulders, and you just feel like creeped out the whole time that you're reading it. It's really good. So if you're a fan of thrillers and you're looking for like thrills and chills for your Halloween season or your spooky season, I would recommend Rock, Paper, Scissors. It's really good. In the same vein of Rock, Paper, Scissors, I want to talk about another thriller that you've probably seen a lot of places, and that is In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. This is a dark academia novel. I gave it 5 stars. It's really, really good. It's another one that's really well written. So in this story, we follow our main character, Jessica, and she is in a friend group with a total of 7 people when she was in college. Of those 7 people, one of them is murdered while they're in college. And so they go about their lives not really knowing who did it. One of the characters is like accused of it, but like deep down, some people think he did it, other people don't think that he did it. It was her boyfriend at the time. So anyways, it goes back and forth between past and present. And in the present, Jessica is going back for homecoming. So they reunite for homecoming, and they're determined to figure out who killed Heather. I would go into this knowing as little as possible. That's kind of like what I like to do for thrillers, is just know as little as possible. So the most important thing you want to know about this novel is that it's a thriller, it's a whodunit, and it's a dark academia novel. That's really all you need to know. And it goes back and forth between past and present and multiple POVs, and when I say past and present, like it goes from the past to the present to a farther in the past to a little bit closer in the past to like farther in the past to the present. So like it's like you're being jerked all around, but in a really good way. Like, it's really engaging. I didn't get lost or confused, and I get confused really easily. So if I can handle it, you can handle it. But again, if you're a thriller fan, I would really recommend this. I gave it 5 stars. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is another book that I typically would not read. I have 2 books left. Well, this one and one other one that I typically would not read that I loved. They're both sad books. But this is called Under the Whispering Door. This is TJ Klune's newest novel. I have not read House on the Cerulean Sea. It was one of my anti-TBR books that I'm going to do for an anti-TBR vlog. But I ended up loving this. As you can see, I annotated it. I gave it 5 stars. This really explores, like, the best way to put it is, it's about grief, but it's mostly about like grieving ourselves. Like, what we do on this earth really matters. And to be really attentive to those around us and to make every moment really meaningful. So if grief is something that you are not ready to read about or you don't want to read about, I would not recommend picking this book up until you're in a place where you are ready to read about it. I am someone who I do not like sad books. If you've watched this channel, then you know that I do not like sad books, but I loved this because TJ Klune does a wonderful job of wrapping in comedic relief that is very timely, and he's hilarious. So it explores like our main character Wallace. He dies and he goes to meet the ferryman who is responsible for helping people pass on to whatever is next. And there's an in-between time, and it really explores Wallace's life and the things that because he was like an asshole in the past. Like, I'm just saying, he was just an asshole. And so, of course, you get to see his character growth, and there's a male-male romance in this. That's not spoiler, it's literally pitched that way. So yeah, I would really recommend this if you like sad reads, but like sad with a point and some comedic relief. And I don't know, this isn't typically a book I would love, but I loved it. Okay, the next book I have to share with you that I read in the month of September was a reread for me, and I think a lot of you probably know that I'm hosting a reread of Vampire Academy right now. Again, as I always say when I talk about these books, if you want to join our reread, or if you're reading it for the first time and like to join us, you can look in the description box below. My Instagram is on there. If you just want to message me on Instagram, I will add you to our group. We're reading one a month. This is another one that I annotated. You can see tabs all over it. I loved this. I did not expect to love this as an adult. I was actually really nervous to read it again as an adult. That being said, I did vlog my experience with this, with Under the Whispering Door, and with one other book that I have in this pile. So if you want to check out those reading vlogs, they're probably linked in the description box, if I didn't forget. But you can find them on the channel if you're interested. But yeah, I was really nervous to read Vampire Academy again as an adult because I loved it so much as a teenager. Like, I loved it so much. It's the thing that really got me into YA fantasy. So yeah, I just want to say that I love this as an adult. It definitely has its cliches and its faults, and I wouldn't blame anyone who's reading it for the first time if they don't like it. If it's not their cup of tea, that's fine. Basically, in a nutshell, it's about different types of vampires and their, like, protectors, and it has dark academia, like, they're on a campus, like Vampire Academy. There's a lot of really good relationships. There's some controversial relationships. There's some teen drama. There's a bigger plot. I really don't want to give away too much of this, but yeah, I would just, if you like YA fantasy and you like vampires and you like complicated relationships, then you would probably like this if you're not too picky. Again, I loved it as an adult. I didn't think I would, but I really did. So obviously I would recommend it. Okay, so the next book I read in the month of September is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. Actually, Buddy read this with a friend of mine on Instagram, and we both really loved it. It's a story about a girl whose mother passes away. I can just read you what the back says, actually, because I feel like this is going to do a better job than I can. But it says, Bea comes from a life of poverty and neglect. Samson from a family of wealth. When the two find themselves spending the summer as neighbors, they soon realize money is one of the few things they don't have in common. Their bond is too intense to ignore, but with only the summer separating them from the start of their new lives on opposite ends of the country, Bea and Samson decide to stay in the shallow end of a summer fling. What they don't realize is that a rip current is coming, and it's about to drag both their hearts out to sea. I love this. Colleen Hoover can do, like, no wrong in my eyes. I love everything that she writes. I gave this 5 stars. Actually, spoiler alert for the next book I'm about to talk about, but I gave all of my books this month 5 stars. I don't know if I just picked up things that I really, like, knew that I was gonna love, but that being said, 2 of them were unexpected reads, and I gave them both 5 stars. This was like a full 5-star month for me, which was just awesome. So yeah, I gave Heartbones 5 stars. If you like Colleen Hoover, if you like romance with deeper pasts and things like that, that really explore what we bring to relationships and not just the relationship itself, yeah, you would really like Heartbones. I loved it. Okay, so the final book that I'm going to talk about that I read in the month of September, I just finished yesterday, and that is The 7 Husbands of Elvin Hugo. I would have never read this book if it wasn't for my local book club, which is just getting started. This is actually the first book that we read for it. So I'm really excited to discuss this at our book club. But you've probably heard of this book, I'm sure. And I will just say that if you thought this would never be a book that you would love, you should still read it. A lot of you on the channel have heard me talk about Stay Gold and how much that book means to me. This one means more. Let's just take a moment to let that set in. This one means more. I won't go into who or how or why or what, but all of you know, because it's even listed on Goodreads, that this is an LGBTQ book in some capacity. And that aspect of it spoke more to me about my experience as a queer person than Stay Gold did. Even though Stay Gold is still way up there, I'll probably still never stop talking about that book. But this got me. This, like, told my story. Like, I felt like my story, in a way, was being told. Like, the struggles. I loved this book. It's very deceiving. Like, the title of it, I expected, I don't know what I expected, but I got so much more than I expected from this book. Like, saying 5 stars for this is kind of insulting, because this is a masterpiece. And I looked it up, and they are making it into a movie, so I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it actually makes it out into the world, because I know a lot of times things go into production and they don't actually make it out. But this is definitely one that I would love to go and see. Like, it is heartbreaking. I will say that it is very heartbreaking, like gut-wrenching. Like, you can feel it in your body. Like, it's written that well, though, that, like, you feel like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so hard because this book is so good, and I never thought I would like it. Just like with Under the Whispering Door, another book I would have never thought that I would like, and I loved so much. That's the beauty of reading, though. It's like sometimes we need to pick up books that we never thought we would like just to try it out, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that this month. Like, I had a reread of a book that I didn't know that I would love again, but I do know that I loved, and so that one was kind of set in stone. And then I read Colleen Hoover, and that's just kind of a duh for me. And then I read some thrillers, and they were really good. Probably the best thrillers, part of the best thrillers I've read this year. I've kind of not really been in the mood for thrillers recently. I don't know what it is, but, like, it's not hitting the spot. I've actually been, like, really moody recently, and it's been really hard for me to, like, pick a book to read. Maybe that's why I took a leap and went with things that were unexpected, because I couldn't figure out what else I wanted to read. But I'm really thankful that I did that. So if there's a book on your shelf or at your library, or one that a friend's been recommending you that you just weren't sure that you were going to like, I encourage you to pick it up, because you never know what's inside it and what that story is going to mean to you. Both of those, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Under the Whispering Door, both really mean a lot to me, and I'm really glad that I picked them up. I'm sorry for the camera angle changing. There's a dog laying right next to the camera, so yeah. But anyways, let me know what you guys read this month. I'm sorry this is kind of a shorter wrap-up. I didn't get as much reading done this month as I wanted to. I've had a lot of other things going on recently to try to manage between reading and doing this and my job and my personal life. There's just been a lot going on, and I didn't get as much reading done this month as I wanted to, but that's okay. And next month I have comp exams for my master's, so we'll see what I get in. It's definitely never enough. It's never as much as I want to get in. But yeah, if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, it really helps us out. I really appreciate you being here. Check out the links in the description. We have some other things going on, like we just launched a Patreon. We want to get a book club going over there. The lowest rank is like $2 to join the book club and do a live show discussion. We would love to have you all. So thank you all so much. We really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.